Welcome back, folks. This is Suave, and today we're going to be taking a look at Sword Art Online, the audiobook. This is published by Yen Audio and read by Bryce Papenbrook. So first off, I want to say thank you to Morgana and the folks over at Yen Press and Yen Audio for providing me with an advanced copy of this audiobook so that I can provide a review for all you fine folks. Now, chances are, if you're checking out this video, you already know a little bit about Sword Art Online. You either read the light novel, you read the manga, or you probably watched the anime, or you did all of those, who knows. And if you watch the anime, and if you actually watch the English stuff, you'll be very familiar with Bryce Papenbrook, because the person who read this audiobook and is narrating this is the English voice of Kirito. Now, this could go one of two ways. If you've never heard the English dub of the anime before, then this could be a nice little stepway into it, just to hear Kirito retell the entire story of Sword Art Online, and he's basically narrating the entire light novel for you. And this is a great opportunity for folks who have never gotten into the light novel. Maybe you're just not having enough time to read through a book that just has a lot of words and very little pictures. This is definitely a great way to get into it. Now, on the flip side, if you've watched the anime and you've watched the English dub like me, you might be a little bit conflicted when you come into this light novel, or this audiobook, because Bryce Papenbrook does a really good job of narrating this whole story. But if you're familiar with all the voices, you're going to be a little bit conflicted because he does all the voices. He does it not just for Kirito, but also for Asuna, for Klein, everybody in there. So the voices aren't going to match up with what you already know with the anime. And obviously they can't hire all the voice actors and actresses to do all the characters in this audiobook. That would be amazing, but this audiobook would probably cost like $50-$60 if they did that. Now, I will say that Bryce did a really good job in narrating all those different characters, all those different personalities. They really come across. The only conflict that I really had was very early on when Kirito and Klein were both in the very beginning talking to each other. They almost sounded like the same character, with maybe just one tiny subtle difference. So that kind of was a little confusing for me when I was like listening to it and I was commuting. And so I was like, who's talking right now? Is it Klein or Kirito? No, I think this is Klein's line. And so that part was a little bit conflicting for me. But now, luckily, you don't have to just take my word for it, because the fine folks over at Yen Press have given me permission to be able to share a sample audio clip with you all. So sit back, relax, grab a glass of water, whatever it is you drink, and enjoy this sample audio clip.
We just didn't have enough people. As I hesitated over what to do, Korvots had rallied his men to their feet across the room and was bellowing orders. All units, charge! Out of the 10 survivors, 2 were slumped on the floor in critical condition. The other 8 formed 2 lines of 4, with Korvots brandishing his sword in the lead. No! Stop! But my scream didn't reach them. It was sheer madness. 8 warriors attacking all at once wouldn't do a thing but cause chaos and limit their individual strengths. They ought to be taking a defensive stance, doing bits of damage one at a time, and switching out constantly. The beast stood upright, hands on hips, and let out an earth-shaking roar, spewing bright steam from its mouth. The exhaust must have had a damaging effect, because the soldiers who came into contact with it slowed their attack. Out came the demon's giant sword again. One man was flipped straight over the demon's head by the blade, crumpling in a heap on the floor right before us. It was Korvots. His HP bar was empty. He wore an expression of utter disbelief, his mouth moving slowly. Impossible. As soon as he mouthed the words, Korvots' body shattered into countless tiny shards with a nerve-grating crackle. Asuna gave a brief shriek at his disintegration, so sudden and unceremonious. Their leader gone, the army squad was completely lost. They fled and screamed, all discipline gone. None of the men had even half his health remaining. No, you can't! Asuna seemed to be wringing the words out of herself. I tried to reach out and grab her arm, but I was an instant too late. You can't do this! She cried, leaping forward like a burst of wind. She pulled out her rapier in midair and plunged into the gleam eyes, a beam of light. Asuna! I shouted, forced to follow in her footsteps. "Whatever happens, happens!" Klein's party brought up the rear. Asuna's desperation attack struck the demon directly in the back. Sadly, its effect on the monster's health was nearly imperceptible. The gleam eye spun around with a bellow of rage, swinging its Zambata with fearful speed. Asuna darted out of the way, but the blade shockwave threw her to the ground. It swung around mercilessly for a follow-up. "Asuna!" Sheer terror chilled my spine, and I desperately lunged for the space between Asuna and the sword. At the last possible instant, I succeeded in just barely deflecting the path of the demon's assault. The impact was breathtaking. Our weapon sent off sparks as they scraped, and the giant blade smashed into the floor just inches from where Asuna lay, gouging a deep furrow with the sound of an explosion. "Get back!" I shouted, preparing for the demon's next blow. The swings came fast and furious, each individual swipe powerful enough to be fatal. There was no time for me to mount a counterattack. The Gleam Eyes used double-handed greatsword skills, but the perfect craft of its combinations left me totally unable to guess what was coming next. All my nerves were on edge, my every instinct dedicated to parrying or sidestepping each blow. The force of them was so overwhelming, however, that I couldn't avoid everything, and my HP dwindled bit by bit with each deflection. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Klein's party lifting up the fallen army soldiers to drag them out of the room. As the demon and I were fighting smack in the middle of the chamber, their progress was limited. The demon finally connected on a powerful stroke. I went numb with the rattling shock, and my HP dropped precipitously. My equipment and skill loadout weren't designed for tanking. I couldn't last much longer. Fear of death spread through my limbs like a chill. I couldn't even coordinate well enough to escape. There was only one course of action remaining.
And welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed that sample audio clip. There's definitely a lot of emotions going on with all the different characters, and you get a really clear sense of what's going on, and it's just a really nice, refreshing experience to have that story being told by Kirito himself, or at least the voice of Kirito himself. So that's actually a pretty awesome perspective. Now, me personally, I hope that this line does really well, and I hope that they keep pumping out more Sword Art Online audiobooks, because personally, I just can't find the time to sit down and have all 20-25 volumes of that light novel series and just pump right through them. I know a lot of you can't do that, but I'm trying to do other things here as well. So being able to just listen to these audiobooks while I'm commuting, while I'm cooking dinner, while I'm walking the dog or something like that, it's just really convenient to have that. And that's going to wrap it up for our audiobook review. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about Sword Art Online, the audiobook. I will be putting a link in the description down below to the Yen Press website, so you can go to that link and they will give you all the different store links of where this audiobook is available to purchase. And let me know if you're going to pick up a copy yourself, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.